I have a question. So I covered a lot of Zuckums. Jesus Christ, we're starting off hot tonight, folks.
That's my favorite candy.
Zuckums, yeah. That's my favorite brand of jam and jelly, Zuckums. With Mike White and Mark Begley, two real mentions, we covered a lot of Zucker, what's that, Zuckums again? Zucker, Abrams, Zucker stuff earlier this year with our Police Squad limited series pod. And yet, we didn't watch this movie.
Which is weird.
Well, it is, but it isn't, I feel like. I feel like Airplane makes more sense because Naked Gun is more of a narrative movie. It's more of a narrative thing. And Airplane is more of a narrative thing. Because this is... I would go as far as to say the parts of this that have narratives in it are the parts that I didn't like more than the other parts in this, which I think says something about where these three end up getting with the things that they end up doing that are more narrative based. But on this episode of the Culture Cast, I am still your host, Chris Stachiw, and I'm joined by one person who's shaking their head at me already, and the other who is giving me an opportunity to defend myself. I'm just kidding. I hated this movie, everybody.
Wait, who was shaking their head?
Father Malone was. He's like, oh, we're starting off hot already. He didn't like it. No, that is not the case. I will not be hating on what was it last episode, Heather? The clown, the Yucko the clown.
I've already gotten trolled on Twitter for my yeah, you know who you are. I see you.
He's probably in this call. He's here, folks.
But
all the way from Noise Junkies, Father Malone, who is now waving at all of them.
You have my gratitude.
And all the way from Noise Junkies and MondoHeather.com, Heather Drain.
This is not a show, which is sampled and referenced later on in A Fistful, though. Because we're Noise Junkies, babies. You know we're going to bring the music references. That's what we do.
HP tonight, but...
HP, he got tired of my malarkey.
He's gone rogue.
You went feral.
I like that better.
So Chris is left with these two Zuckums over here.
Zuckum 1 and Zuckum 2.
Yeah.
So on this episode of the Culture Cast, if you didn't figure it out by the name of the episode alone, we're going to be talking about the Zuckums. God damn it. Zucker Abrams Zucker joint from 1977. That predated everything else they did. Like we've already mentioned, the Naked Gun films, Airplane, all that good stuff. We're going to be talking about a little sketch comedy film called The Kentucky Fried Movie.
Award-winning motion picture producer, Samuel L. Bronkowitz.
I have spent a lifetime in the motion picture industry. Now, after 50 years in Hollywood, I have finally produced what I feel is the finest motion picture ever made. I have called it The Kentucky Fried Movie. The Kentucky Fried Movie heralds the return to traditional values.
I'm not wearing any pants. Film at 11.
It is a film of heartfelt passion, a great love story.
Oh, take me to the drive-in, prove you love me.
It explores the subtle nuances of interpersonal relationships. Of course, there are occasional moments of comic relief. The Kentucky Fried Movie is a film that demands the greatest performances from the finest actors of the cinema.
Hey, look, Wally. Wally.
I tell you, this building is unsafe.
City's in flames. The National Guard is powerless to deal with the situation. Governor, what are we going to do?
An anticipated 10% price hike across the board on petroleum products.
I invite every man, woman, and child to share with me the joy and warmth of the Kentucky Fried Movie. It will knock your socks off.
So the film is directed by, oh, here we go. We're already here, folks. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I think realistically anymore with any of this stuff, if it's 2023 and you don't know any of this stuff, just go do yourself a favor and look it up. We don't need to bring it up every time and get into it over and over again. Just do yourself a favor and know that there are human beings involved in making things in Hollywood. And guess what? Human beings have problems. And some of those people make decisions that get other people hurt. And some people make decisions that get themselves hurt. And, everybody suffers the consequences. So John Landis is one of those people. He's a lesser than some, but unfortunately, problems. Yes. Other than John Landis, it's written by Zucker, Abrams Zucker, Jim Abrams, David Zucker, and Jerry Zucker. And they show up a couple times in the movie too. And there's a long list of people. And I think we'll kind of mention everybody as we go through it. But the bigger names that show up, Donald Sutherland, Henry Gibson, Bill Bixby, George Lazenby, otherwise known as everybody's favorite hipster, James Bond. It's a sketch comedy movie, and there's a fair amount of sketches, and then there are a couple longer, more narrative-based things, and we'll talk about them when we get to them. So, Father Malone, as always, I will give the floor to you. Why, when, how, all the questions you're going to answer, so I'm not even going to ask them. You know where we're going.
Okay, I was too young to have seen this in the theater, though I desperately wanted to. Actually, you know what? I have seen this in the theater. I saw years later. But I did not see this until I was probably 10 or 11, maybe, on cable. Kentucky Fried Movie. But by then, I had already seen Airplane, so I was already a fan of theirs. The Airplane I did see in the theater. And had watched Police Squad sort of as it was airing. So I was already very acquainted with them, and I was already desperately in love with them, as well as John Landis by then, because by then I had already seen Blues Brothers and American Werewolf in London and Animal House as well. So here's this treat of these guys that I love and this other guy I love making a movie like before they made anything. And here they are doing it together. And Rick Baker's in there too. So, my little horror nerd comedy heart was in heaven watching this. Rewatching the movie, 40 odd years later, I still love it. I know it's dated, and I know it's got problems, and I know it is a shaky first step in a lot of ways for them as filmmakers. But I still marvel at how sure-footed it is for John Landis as his real first feature. I mean, he scrabbled together schlock on his own, just picking up where he can. This is the first time somebody said, here's $500,000, go make a movie. And boy, howdy, they're lucky they got him, because this very well could have been the groove tube as far as quality of the film, but they lucked into a filmmaker who wanted to make everything look real and cinematic. And I don't know, I've loved it since then. I'll continue to love it. I'm going to watch it again after we stop talking. There, Kentucky Fried Movie.
Heather, question posed to you.
First of all, preach, my newest junkie brother. I love that. Being blessed, like had a YouTube episode. I got to grow up because my mom, would watch Saturday Night Live or could rent like tapes that were like the best of SNL, and so sketch comedy is always deep in my love, in my heart. And she would always tell me, "Oh my God, this movie." She saw Kentucky Fried Movie as a teenager and it was just like, "Oh my, this movie's so funny." And when I got a little older, she rented it. And even though some of it, I think this is an example of the movie on Groove Tube, or even some of the stuff that's dated, the comedy is so great. And in fact, I wrote, because this is what stuck in my head. I was trying to think, how would I describe this to somebody who hasn't seen it and, has never even heard of it. And it's this movie is so great. It has zesty, absurdist humor that has this sense of pure fun that say you're a little tousled hair that's all hopped up on pixie sticks in Mad Magazine. That it has that in it. I'm not saying everything's perfect about it, but I think as far as this kind of goes, it's one of the best. It's so much of the comedy still holds up. It's hilarious. There's several parts that I just it literally makes me snort, obnoxious laugh, the cat's running out of the room laugh. I love it. I mean, and I think the thing to keep in mind is much like anthology, and you guys know this because you've literally have done podcasts on Tales from the Crypt, and is that statistically, not everything's going to land equally when you do that kind of format, and sketch comedy even more so because it's even tinier. So if you get a film where more of it lands than not, and the wavelength's overall cohesive, I think you're doing pretty good. But Chris, this was your first time, correct?
Yeah, it was.
Tell us about your journey. Give us your summary, man.
It was my first time. No,
Well,
I want to mention something here about John Landis and my feelings about one of my favorite movies. One of my favorite movies is American Werewolf.
Oh, it's classic. It's a masterpiece.
And that movie doesn't exist without something like this. So I have to take that into consideration because, again, I don't want to be biased, given that American Werewolf in London is a movie that really cemented for me not only my love of horror, but also a horror movie that feels so much smarter than like so much of the stuff that was coming out at the time. And it had such a unique voice. And that's all here in this. I mean, yes, it is a Abrams Zucker thing, but like you've already mentioned, Father Malone, John Landis and what he brings to this is something that Ken Shapiro lacked with the Groove Tube, which is a force of will that is hard to really tussle with. I genuinely believe John Landis is a force of will as a director, because a lot of the things that he's gotten done and decisions that he's made, and I'm not making allusions to the negative. I'm making allusions to the things that have worked, like being the person to work with Michael Jackson on Thriller and to work with someone of that caliber and get along with them and actually make something of value with someone else who is also relatively hard to. I think John Landis, this movie works not because of Abrams Zucker, but because they were able to have someone like a John Landis who goes, okay, I see what all your ideas are. Let's do something that's not just bullshit thrown at the wall constantly. It feels like John Landis's direction is the thing that makes this movie work so much more than the group. And I think even for the parts of this that don't work, which are a couple, and one of them is extended, it doesn't work because probably the source material also isn't something I necessarily gravitate. But at the same time, it still hangs together better than the other thing similar in the Groove Tube, The Dealers, where that was like 15, 20 minutes. I would rather watch The Fistful of Yen or even the Courtroom parody. I would rather watch either of those over the longest segment from the movie we watched last. And that is because John Landis's direction in that narrative portion of the movie feels like someone who already knows how to make movies, and he's going to show everybody that pretty quickly after this movie comes out with the next thing he works on. So again, my feelings on him personally aside, he ends up directing Animal House a year later. So, and that movie, I mean, Animal House and Blues Brothers and then American Werewolf, 3 movies in a row that if you were the director of any one of those movies, that would be great. But directing all 3 and being writer on 2 of the 3 credited is not anything to sneeze at. And then he goes on to work on so many other things. And one of those things we'll end up talking about later this month with Amazon Women on the Moon.
Now, John Landis, he's a director. And I think this is a sign, to be a great director, you have to love cinema. You have to get what cinema too. You have to have that passion. And he has that. I mean, even nowadays would pop up in something like Trailers from Hell or, any number of documentaries. Like, this is a cat still loves talking about knows. And I think especially when you're doing something like this, of this nature, you have to get it. Like, if you're going to parody like something like with The Fistful of Yen, you have to not only love kung fu, but you have to kind of know some of the tropes of some of the schlockier ones to have fun with that. Or so yeah, I love that you brought that up. And yeah, I mean, come on, American Werewolf in London. That's
it's a great, it's an immaculate make, and not just a horror, but also a subversive comic.
Mm-hmm.
What's great about John Landis is he has a definite visual style, but here in the service of this movie, the industrial films look like industrial films. The commercials look like commercials. The courtroom it's like a courtroom drama from television. The AM television stuff looks like that. As I said, it's a marvel. Now, he got involved in this because he had been hired by a guy named Robert K. Weiss, who's sort of a talent impresario. He had hired Landis to make an innumerable amount of industrial and training video, which he had done, including like 30-minute cassettes for the LAPD, like training videos on like how to use your SAP, like your leather thing that's now illegal for them to carry. Anyway, so he had been making for Weiss, and Weiss was also involved with this theater troupe, the Kentucky Fried Theater on Pico over near the 20th Century Fox lot. and they saw Landis on Johnny Carson promoting schlock. 21-year-old, it was like a novelty. 21-year-old kid makes his own movie. And they were like, hey, we saw this kid on Carson. He made a movie. We should make a movie. And Robert K. Weiss is like, well, let me put you two together, right? So they had written a movie called Kentucky Fried Airplane that they gave to Landis, like, we want to make this movie. And he read it and he said, this is 0 Hour. And they said, yeah. And he said, that's plagiarism. No. But in the structure of the script, it was like you're watching TV at night. So there were interspersed television commercials. And he said, like, do the television commercials and the sketches that work at your show, and let's make that movie. So then they went off and wrote the script. Now, here's it's a very tangential connection to it, but I worked as a projectionist in the 90s for a company called Landmark Theaters, right? Which up until 1990 was owned by a guy named Kim Jorgensen. Kim Jorgensen got involved. I don't know who he knew of that group, but they had made a 10-minute promotional film to get the movie made. He started showing it at his theaters, and people were like losing their minds for it. And then he put them in touch with Salah Hassanine, who would eventually make produce Creepshow. And he gave them $500,000. And here is Kentucky Fried Movie. There's a brief history of the movie. I know way too much about this movie. I'm too obsessed with all of the players.
The Zuckums,
yes.
as Chris would say.
But definitely the Zaz boys.
Well, and the thing ultimately becomes about Landis is, yes, he does go on to make comedies. I mean, again, Animal House, Blues Brothers, stuff like that. But, this is, again, it's a John Landis movie through and through, but the Zaz stuff is there in a way that is, again, when it works, but just like in the other things that I've seen of theirs, when it doesn't work, it really does. Like it just becomes so, I don't know. Mike White of Detroit, Michigan might disagree, but I get what they were going for, but yikes, movie.
What?
The whole Detroit thing, it's like,
I thought that was funny.
It's not that it's not funny.
It's just funny.
It becomes of a thing that they end up doing that ends up not being funny. And you can kind of see, like, this is the one time where it works. But then they start doing this thing where it kind of gets more and more conservative-y and kind of like right-wingy.
No. Talking about David Zucker becoming right-wingy.
No. Have you Naked Gun 1, 2, and 3? There's a fair amount of racism.
Is there from?
Yeah. Yep. Oh yeah. Big time. And like the thing is, like, none of us remembered it when we but when we watched them, we were like, man, like at the end of Naked Gun 2, there's this whole there's this whole thing. It's kind of like anti-Hispanic, and I don't know. It's not like really out front in the open, but it is kind of this weird undertone. And then obviously, yeah, like we mentioned, he kind of goes on to do rather right-wing conservative stuff, but the Detroit thing is like the funny version of it. But then they kind of, the repeating of these things becomes this like, oh God, guys.
Wait, are we talking about the repeating of them in this or like in other movies?
No, I'm saying here it works, but in other things they do this exact same thing and it really doesn't work. And I was shocked to see it work here is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
3, they're doing a War of the Worlds parody, and there's a scene in War of the Worlds where a newscaster shows Tom Cruise the devastation going on. They got footage of it, and so they parody that moment. And she says, "Look, here's Detroit, and it's Detroit on fire." And she goes, "And now here's Detroit after the attack, and it's just an alien like walking through the fire. It's still Detroit." The joke. It took 20 years to get there, 30 years to get there, but I don't know, man. That was a hell of a payoff for that joke.
I mean, we kind of mentioned this last time, but they're more recent stuff. Again, take it however you will, your feelings on Scary Movie 1 through 5, but they're pretty consistent. I feel like with the level of comedy that they put out for 20 years, starting with this, and then I would say ending around Scary Movie 3, which is 2003. I mean, that's in my opinion the last great thing any one of them made together or separately. I mean, they even worked on, David Zucker worked on Basketball, which is a really good live action movie that just happens to have Matt Stone and Trey Parker.
I will vouch. I would go to bat. I think Basketball is a funnier movie than South Park.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, Basketball is.
I think Basketball may be the best thing that they've done other than the Book of Mormon. And I know people love South Park, but like Basketball is it's such a perfect parody of those kind of movies that I don't think there's another parody that is as good as basketball.
It's so see now you got me wanting to talk about basketball. We need to talk about it. But basketball rules, and I hear your mom's going out with squeak.
but it all starts here. I mean, and even in basketball, they do have like not the commercials, but they do have some like the inner. Am I thinking basketball, right?
Yeah, no, because they have like Robert Stack pop up and kind of and then they have like the when roadkill attacks or something.
Yeah. And hey, you know what? I do appreciate a gag that continues through the movie, because the first segment of this where the announcer says, they pissed in the popcorn, that does pay off then in the See You Next Wednesday segment, right? When he eats the popcorn and then like looks at it and throws it. That's okay. Yeah. I appreciated that, because I was like, okay. I was like, that's, I didn't catch it the first.
Yeah. What happened? Did everybody freeze?
I think you froze, and then I
just waited because I didn't know if you said something stopped.
Yeah.
Am I here now?
You're here now.
You're here now.
Excellent.
Suave and debonair. I know, but we got
frozen by the technology.
Frozen by the Zuckum. It's Zuckums become a word just for anything.
Zukkums.
Did you hear what happened?
She got the Zuckums.
She got the Zuckums.
Zuckums came and took her away.
Oh my gosh. Okay, first of all, I love the like freneticness, especially like in the non-narrative part of just like how we get like such a effort. Like that was something, because it'd been a few years since I'd watched it. I've seen it a few times over there, but never for like a writing or podcast. And like, I mean, we even get like a Jacques Cousteau type, like with the interview and did you guys recognize the guy playing the Jacques Cousteau prox? Barry fucking did.
Yeah,
Barry did. I love
the Shining Zone.
I love him so much. I mean, he's Pontius Pilate, both in I believe the original stage version of Christ Superstar, but of course the movie too. He's in Shock Treatment, the Rocky Horror, not a sequel, not a prequel, but equal.
Yeah.
He can do anything. I love Barry Dennett. And he's hilarious here, talking about how, he lives the unknown. He loves the unknown. He is the unknown.
Poisonous fish. Poisonous fish.
I love the guy's like, where are you living now? That is unknown. And just the surrealism where like the boom mic at one point is like shavings. And
the boom mic also has a lighter at the end of it at one point, which I mean, that gag is just like, will never get old. Anything with the boom mic and something coming out of it is just fucking common.
That particular has a life. I mean, I don't think there's anyone attached to it. I think that thing is just animate, drinking its water.
It's sentient.
It every time.
Oh God. And there's so many great trail. Like what are like your guys' favorite trail parody that we have in this film? Because there's some good ones.
Cleopatra Schwartz, of course. It's fucking so spot on. It's one of the 4 pieces they filmed to get the movie made.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. The 4 segments that they shot were Cleopatra Schwartz, the final segment with the newscasters watching the couple.
The thing with them watching the couple, I feel like I had seen that somewhere else before. And when I saw it in this, it was like, okay, like this is like the perfect distillation of a lot of their comedy style. It's subversive on top of just like what we're seeing is funny, but then they have to subvert it by it being, again, like they're able to see them, but I guess they can see them too. And it's like that level, I don't know, that level of back and forth, I think is what makes Abrams Zucker so funny, is they take the joke and they don't just let it sit there. They continue to go. And it's 3, I think they repeat things 3 or 4 times is what they're kind of, right? They often repeat jokes like 3 or 4 times.
They will wring everything out of a joke, but I think
I'm not saying in a bad way. Like most of the time it works.
The joke is funny and you can hit it a couple of times. That you need to hit it a few times, but then you need to know when to stop.
Yeah.
Gosh. Yeah. The standout for Cleopatra Schwartz. And if that was a real movie, I would 120% watch and own the Blu-ray of it. But no, Catholic Schoolgirls in Trouble for me is like, I remember that was even my favorite one when I first saw it. And not just because there's a lot of boobs, but, and Ushi DeGard is like the shower who Ushi DeGard for us like cult maniac people. I mean, amazing. She's in so many stuff, but she's most famously probably in Russ Meyer's Super Vix. And She's Ushi is queen. We love Ushi. But I also think that Stephen Bishop's greatest moment ever is him. Do you know which one Stephen Bishop is in Catholic Schoolgirls, Chris?
Show me your nuts, buddy.
Yeah, that's what I assumed.
No, separate your ways.
The joke did not go at all where I thought it would. It went in a much better direction.
And the girl thrown a whipped cream pie on a horse's ass.
Subversive.
But you know what tricked me out though, and I know this till work on for this episode, where they're all chained up in the dungeon and they've got like a little person clown who's literally a crazed clown is IMDb character name. It's yes, Malone, you knew. Felix Sela, Cousin It, is in this fucking.
It was in a recent episode of Night Gallery we did, and I actually referenced the movie here in it.
Oh yeah, Baby New Year.
Nice. And he's totally doing like a Ralphus from Bloodsucking Freaks here.
Yes. Yes. Good old Ralphus.
Oh,
everybody loves Ralphus. Everybody's got a Ralphus. I appreciated the That's Armageddon trailer only because it has George Lazenby and there is not enough George Lazenby. And for whatever reason, again, they don't have him do his Australian accent, which I think is the funniest part. You can hear him like covering it up really poorly, but he is like George Lazenby as the architect. This shit just starts falling on him. It reminded me of David Warner getting shit thrown at him in Tales from the Crypt. It's like this actor just sitting here having shit thrown in his vicinity, because there's that shot that they keep repeating of them talking, having this insane back and forth, and shit just starts getting closer and closer to them. And I was like, man, one of them's going to get clocked by something and they're going to leave that footage in. I know it's coming.
Lazenby apparently drunk for the entirety of it.
Of course.
Fuck,
of
man.
Of course he was. Like, my question was sober when he was in Never Too Young to Die.
No.
And he gets murdered by, was he sober for that?
I hope.
Wouldn't be. I'd be drunk on life. In here, sorry.
It also has Donald Sutherland, which like
as the
clumsy waiter.
Well, Landis and he were on Kelly's Heroes together. Landis was a stuntman on the film Kelly.
Oh no!
Donald Sutherland there, yeah. Well, that's where he got the idea for American Werewolf in London. Well, because they were shooting in Romania, and said like he was with some like burly soldier type, and they were going through the woods, and they saw a bunch of gypsies burying one of their own, but in a really elaborate way. And he was like, "Look at them! They're idiots. They think that the dead are going to come back." And Landis was like, "What if the dead did come back?" And thus we got American Werewolf in London.
Who hasn't had that in Romania?
While shooting Kelly's.
Exactly. As far as like, you know, because we just did group. So did you guys, especially in the context of watching, did either one of you do like the whole comparison brain a little bit of like what works here versus what didn't in Group 2, Coco the show, or whatever that clown was?
There are definite parallels here because they do. I mean, there are commercial parodies and industrial films sort of parodied, and whatever that's on television. Although the Groove Tube is more specifically television oriented, and Kentucky ends up being kind of a whatever affair. But before I compare and contrast, I do want to say, evidently in 1970, so Zucker, Abrams, and Zucker are in Wisconsin. Abrams has already graduated, but the Zucker brothers are still in school. One of the Zucker brothers on a weekend goes to Chicago, where he sees a touring production of Cinema One, Ken Shapiro's New York comedy troupe, and goes back and tells his compatriots, hey, there's this format. It's sketch comedy, and they do video pieces in between. Let's do that. And so they formed Kentucky Fried Theater. So there's a good comparison with the Groove too.
Oh, I love that. I read a similar article, but said that it said pretty much what you just said, except he added, I saw something that these guys did and we should do it, except we'll make it funny. I'm sorry.
Damn. I mean, that feels unnecessary.
I'm being mean. I'm being
But I mean,
spicy.
again, to be fair, to be fair, we're talking about Abram Zucker stuff that exists past, like, again, Ken Shapiro did a couple things, but it was this, the Groove Tube and Modern Problem, a movie that has been critiqued to me as the most unfunny thing that Chevy Chase has been in, which feels like a fucking nightmare. So I don't know, like Abrams Zucker, they persisted. So maybe they are funnier. I think they had a more distinct vision and they had less limiters on themselves. I think if Ken Shapiro hadn't just done a TV thing and forced himself to be super specific, I think the Groove Tube might have worked about as well as Kentucky Fried Movie did if he had taken the bumper lanes off of his bowling alley and actually given himself the opportunity to not just be like, oh, it's just TV stuff. Like you just mentioned, the Kentucky Fried Movie works because it's not just TV stuff. It's kind of it's all the video media of the time being referenced, not just the TV.
Well, Kentucky Fried Movie is effectively the Zucker brothers and Abrams cinematic version of Cinema One, and Groove Tube is Ken Shapiro's cinematic version of Cinema One, right?
Right.
But they went west and found themselves a fucking like beast of a filmmaker. And even if their material had been less than Shapiro, they would have succeeded on the slickness of Landis. And Landis is no slouch comedically either. Like a lot of the pacing and the editing of this movie, it's all him. So I can't help but compare the movies just on the sort of surface level, superficial level. It's always better to have a group working, I think. I think we mentioned that about Groove Tube specifically. Like it is it's a singular film in that it's Ken Shapiro.
Right.
Whereas the committee are testing the stuff out and then had a further sort of voice like lording over it all, going like, well, this isn't going to work and this will, and I'll put in what I think is funny and what's not. So I do think, the one thing that I think worked better in Groove Tube as far as commercial parodies, because they do a very similar beer ad.
Oh,
whereas
thank
you. The Groove Tube, it was like just celebrating all of the worst violent behavior that beer drinkers do. And here it's just sort of wouldn't it be funny if Hare Krishnas were just like everybody else and acting like dullards? And the other one is way funny, way more biting and satirical and has a point to it as opposed to just sort of a goof.
I honestly rewatched that Willer ad a couple times and I was like, am I missing a joke here? Nope, I'm not missing the joke because there isn't one. It's just Hare Krishna's drinking beer. I guess that's funny, like question mark. Like again, I think of the next time Abrams Zucker would use Hare Krishnas is fucking Airplane, where Robert Stack is beating the shit out of him. So I think the Hare Krishnas were an easy target for people of a certain comedic ilk at a certain time. I mean, they were clearly all over Los Angeles and people felt a certain way about them at LAX. So that's why they were in Airplane. And they're here because, I guess, is it funny for Hare Krishnas to drink beer? Like the Groove Tube ad's funny because everybody's just beating the shit out of it. That's funny. That will never not be.
Yeah, I think if we were a little bit closer to 1977, the Hare Krishna joke would have increased in hilarity, maybe, because you would have had some experience. I remember as a kid seeing Hare Krishnas still all the time handing out flowers. So this was not without the realm of possibility. But
I had a Hare Krishna give me a something in Columbia, Missouri when I was in college. Like they're still hanging around. Like, I just
they seem nice.
I was like, why are we making fun of them?
They seem way nicer than like various like, I don't know, like Southern Baptists that will hand out Bibles at public schools in the South, which that shit has happened.
That has a Hare zombie that's fucking awesome, so who can't, I gotta love that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, again, really like good. There's that. I also just like, it's weird to me because, again, I go back to like ZAZ's stuff later on, or at least one of them gets a little weird and like kind of racy. And it's like, okay, like Hare Krishnas, I guess. I was waiting for the gag. I was waiting for the punchline. And that one is just like, there is no punch. They're drinking beer and they're horny. They're grabbing ass.
Actually, one thing I like that surprised me, because I try not to think about how, like, which one of them ended up being super conservative and working with Kelsey Grammer, which was, I try to, like, not think about that because it makes me sad. But I do like, as kind of a comparison, that like you have sort of like the conservative talk show host, and he's clearly kind of the butt of the jokes. Like the woman, like the liberal woman he's debating, Sheila, is so bad at totally cussing and giving the finger. I love Sheila. That's literally my note. I love, but it's also good proof. I think sometimes that's why it's good for people to watch. There's a lot of reasons that are good to watch older films, but you know, it's like, I feel like I run into people now that think like super conservative Fox News things like originated with Fox News. It's like, no. This shit goes back. And the proof, I mean, if Seffing is showing up in a parody, you know, that it's, you know, permanence or firm stature and cultures, you know, pretty obvious.
Yeah, that conservative speech that he gave, you could pluck it out and strap it into any pundit's mouth right now, and it like everything exactly what they've always been saying forever and ever. And particularly then in 1977, where you would never do this on television. Boy, wouldn't it have been great had somebody just said, enough of your horse shit. Blow it out your ass.
I love her. I'm like, you know what? Maybe we like, not to get too political, but I'm like, yeah, maybe things would have ended up a little bit better if more like Democrats have been just like, you know, instead of trying to compromise, just be like, you know what? Yeah, eat the bird.
Hey, people always say don't go down to their level. I mean, like, all right, sure, but that's why we're here. We didn't. I will say, speaking of politics, one of the segments that I really appreciated, and I feel like some of y'all might know which one I'm going to say, scot-free. I mean, a joke that has persisted since this movie came out.
Scot-free is one of the other segments filmed for the 10-minute reel to get the movie made, and it is without a doubt the best joke in the movie.
100%
perfect and accurate. Oh my god. Like if
we were literally talking about it before recording without even me remembering in a lot of ways that we were going to end up talking about it again.
It's a masterwork. You could show that anywhere, anytime. It's very, very funny. And in 77, deeply disturbing for the American people. That had happened 15 years beforehand.
That's what makes the joke so fucked up then. But again, that's what makes it so prescient now, is that that has persisted. I'm not saying there aren't things in this that haven't persisted as well, but in terms of visibility to our culture, even right now today, you say JFK, and I don't know what people think about other than him dying. Unfortunate.
They might be thinking about the token representative of JFK here, which is a tiny plastic flag draped coffin, or you could play as that piece, or the sniper rifle.
My favorite is at the end where it's like, spin to see if the public believes you or not. It's like, oh my fucking god.
Oh, somebody bought Life magazine and has published the photographs out of order.
It's savage. It's such a biting joke, and they never let up. It keeps going and building and building and building. I don't know. Again, it's pretty fucked up, but I don't know. I think for me, like you mentioned, Father Malone, for me, it is my favorite bit of the entire.
The only thing missing is Belzer.
Yeah, the bells.
The bells. I do love the cast we get here. And in fact, we get one of my favorite, Rick Baker Gorilla.
The best Rick Baker of all, Rick Baker Gorilla.
Oh my god. This is pre-Tanya's Island, which also had Rick Baker Gorilla. And I know Malone, because I haven't seen it. Did the Rick Baker Gorilla originate with Schlock? Because I haven't seen Schlock.
That is a Rick Baker Gorilla. The Rick Baker Gorilla we get here is his audition to portray King Kong. So he made that specifically to try and get the King Kong gig from Dino De Laurentiis. And Landis was like, well, let's put you in this movie. Like, what a stroke of fucking luck, because it is the best looking gorilla suit up until like he really starts doing it with, like Gorillas in the Mist and stuff like that. Like it's spectacular. Look, it's Rick Baker in the costume, who is a fantastic mimic of primate characteristics. So it's a like the budget of the movie should be an extra $1 million based on that suit, I would think. It's amazing.
That suit, and that when he just starts going to he's throwing people around, including a PA that's John Landis.
Yeah, he oversells that toss there. A little,
just a tad, just a little bit.
He's like Shawn Michaels fighting Hulk Hogan. Am I right, Chris?
Yeah, he just starts flipping and flopping all over the place. But hey, it's a monkey. It's a big monkey. And who doesn't love a gorilla, right?
Angry.
violent
Violent gorilla that, breaks to the glass.
I love that he's given his motivation isn't that he's just another crazy gorilla. It's like he's embarrassed that they won't stop talking about his impotence.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite.
Impotent. Fucking gorilla. He's heard it one time.
His fragile masculinity.
I will say, as much as I love Scott Free, I think my second favorite bit in the entire movie is Feel Around Theater, only because it's a 4-minute, 52-second gag that works, and then it exists solely to get to the gag at the end, which, I mean, it is one of the funnier kind of mugging moments of the entire movie, where, oh yeah, by the way, Deep Throat's showing next. Boom. Like, I don't know.
Of course. The voice act, man, like, the more I watch that, when the voice act is what cracks me up the most, especially, like, and I don't know if this is true, IMDb listed as Tina Louise.
Oh, I think
that female, is it Louise?
I believe it is Tina Louise.
Holy shit. Because it's just like I said, is it lipstick on your collar? Like it's like her enunciation.
Is the male voice Shannon Stevens there? I know he does a few voices in it, but I don't know if he's the particular voice of that guy.
I'm shipping that. I don't know if it is. I noticed his name was in the credits too, and I was like, "Oh my god, Shadow Stevens!" But yeah, like I'm shipping Shadow Stevens and Louise, and it's just like the knife. I bust out the knife.
Yes,
slit your throat. I say something. I've never been afraid to spill my own blood. I think, oh my god, where's that movie? I would totally want to watch this like hot mess couple. Yeah, it's like boiled it hard on balls.
I just really appreciated the actor that he got to be in that scene because he's so expressive with his eyes. Like, can I have a ticket for the movie? It's like he has this like really strange like affectation. I have no idea how to do his affectation. But like his affectation goes with his face. Let's just put it that way.
Jeff Maxwell, he was a groundling, so that's some local talent that they pulled, and he is great in that. Not only during the sequence, but his twice interaction with women, where he's just so timid and he just wants to say literally anything but can't before he goes in to feel around.
He's hilarious.
Yeah, I love how both girls are just like so like whatever creep. Yeah, here's your ticket.
Very taxi.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Now, and the feeling around, it's funny because that's something, because I was thinking about the whole like discussion of like, do things that have older references still work? And I mean, we live in the age of streaming, but that sequence is still funny. Like those gags are funny. It doesn't matter. Plus, we never actually had, I guess the closest proxy, like the William Castle stuff. But
I thought you were lamenting the fact that we didn't have, I am lamenting the fact we didn't have.
Are you kidding? Oh my god!
I like Sensorama and all these sort of innovations. We're gonna
the Tingler,
gonna shake the theater and stuff. Yeah, well, no, the Tingler, but even the big studios during like the disaster era started getting into it, where all these gimmicks. So it's perfectly of a piece at the time. But it now reminds me of we have these like 4D theaters, like D Box or something like that. Have you ever gone to one of these?
No, because I couldn't imagine sitting in a seat for 3 hours, like for maybe 10 minutes, sure, but not for 3 fucking hours. I feel like it would get old. I feel like it would get old about the length of time it takes to ride in one of those rides at Universal Studios.
I was in Boston and wanted to see a movie, and there was only one showing that day of the movie Don't Breathe, and it was in one of these theaters. And sitting there watching the movie, and the opening shot is a slow zoom in from very, very far away of this Detroit neighborhood, and my seat just started like leaning forward and forward and forward. Like the more they zoomed in, the more forward I was leaning. Like that was just start of it, but like at one point there's a fire on screen, like a wave of smoke rolled across the floor. I was like, what the? A gun went off, and like there was a strobe light went off in the theater. It was very unusual.
I was half expecting you to say when there was a gun, somebody shot a gun at you. Some bullets just started whizzing past us like Indiana Jones and those arrows.
He didn't say the theater was in Detroit.
Oh my God. Ooh, from the movie to the podcast, folks.
I live in Arkansas. Listen, any state can dunk on me harder. I'm allowed to.
That's true. I mean, I feel like making jokes about Detroit in 2023 is there are other cities to make jokes about, right?
All of them. Look at this fucking country with the shitty gun laws. You can make that joke about any part. And
just lost.
I don't care.
Why you think I do?
I'm bringing the new listeners in. Noise Junkies.
It's true. You're bringing all the Hare Krishna listening as it.
I worked with a lady that lived in a college town in Texas in the 80s, and there's a Hare Krishna kitchen. She said that was some amazing fare. I don't know what their cooking is. I would try it. It's vegetarian, but it's delicious.
So go ahead, Heather. Sorry.
I'm sorry. That was an aside, but yes, no, you continue.
I wanted to ask y'all how you feel about the segment Danger Seek.
It's Kramer, Danger Seek. Okay. Yeah. Television thrill seekers, the Evel Knievel types that were proliferating and dominating the news at the time. The joke could be about any ethnicity. It's more a parody of these idiots who, like, yes, you went hang gliding. Okay, good. But if you want to do something truly dangerous, try this. It reminds me of, Chris, we've discussed modern haunted houses, haunted attractions, where you sign a waiver and they come and slap you and stuff. Like, people are really into that. Like, that's what it takes to get people to feel a modicum of fear anymore. And I always made the argument that you should, if you really want to do that, like, go empty your bank account and then take a cab ride to the worst section of your town and have them drop you off without your phone and then walk home. Like, you'll get the same thing. And I think that's playing a bit on this, but it doesn't excuse the use of the N-word, does it?
I wasn't taking issue with the use of the N-word. I mean, look, you're going to use it for a comedic. If this is the use of it in a comedic sense, like, okay, I can understand your justification and what you're getting. It was the segment I was not expecting. Let's just put it that way. Wow. It was, I think it was the most transgressive and subversive part of the entire movie at once. But I think that's okay. I think that there needed to be something like this in the movie to really say, like, we're here and we're fucking pushing the envelope. Because, like, I mean, Ken Shapiro tried, but I think this landed more. If you're trying to actually push and be transgressive, using that word in your movie, full R word, like, from full hard R, like, wow, okay. It's pretty goddamn transgressive, if you ask me.
This is a movie that does begin with the collection of hair combs from Italy to help power our natural resources. So, like, let's just say that they're willing to spread around the transgressive and sometimes less than palatable material.
I mean, is that kind of humor really transgressive though? I don't know. Like, when I think of transgressive humor, I think of, like, Pink Flamingo. It's like, which I is one of my favorite comedy time, but it's like,
I mean, I think they're both transgressive, right?
Well,
wouldn't show this movie on television, so yeah, I think it's transgressive.
But you could say the N-word on television 70s, because SNL had that whole sketch where, wasn't it Robert Klein and
No, you're talking about Chevy Chase and Richard Pryor?
Yes.
And
Chevy Chase again.
Yeah.
Great sketch. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's hilarious. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think it's transgressive. I think it's like, I don't know.
That's fair. I guess I was saying more now. It's transgressive. Now.
Yeah, agreed.
It's in the 70s, sure. I mean, I would say you make the case for that. I mean, yeah, because again, like, Barney Miller gets close, and there are shows that were, you said they were saying it. So how transgressive is it?
I mean, the fact that, like, so much of American humor is steeped in not necessarily racist jokes, but ethnic, like vaudeville. I mean, that whole, where there's certain jokes that probably, some of them would be viewed racist. Now, some of them are racist, but then there are others that are racial and they're ethnic based, but they're not really hate. It's just like, don't say the N-word in Harlem. Like, you'd hear that phrase all the time.
Yeah, this sequence, doesn't it just become a major plot point in Die Hard with a Vengeance, with John McClane and a placard standing out in Harlem?
I've never seen that.
Yeah. I mean, I actually had a friend mention that to me, like, last week or the week before. He's like, isn't that weird in Die Hard 3? And I was like, I don't remember. So I went back and watched it and I was like, holy shit. Yeah. I mean, they kind of trade in that.
There was a third Die Hard movie.
There was a fourth and a fifth Die Hard
That's
movie.
fucking
Wow.
stupid. That's so weird. Oh my God.
I mean,
That's funny.
the second one is pretty good.
I like the second.
I haven't seen any of
It
them except
opens
the
with
first.
Bill Sadler's ad.
Oh, I love Sadler. I love William Sadler. I don't know about his ass,
He
but
is
I love
full.
him.
I mean, he's full on in the buff in the beginning of that.
Or is he hot dogging it?
No, it's just rear nudity. It's not the full frontal. Ain't
What?
not the full Morty.
This is why I'll never get on right because I say things like, "Was he hot dogging it? Was he Zuckums? Did he have the
Was he
Zuckums?"
zucking it? Big Zuck, little Zuck, Zucks that ride on train. So Father Malone, you mentioned the opening with the thing with the Italian combs, which is, I mean, look, I mean, it is from one Italian to, well, they're not Italian, but hey, it is funny. They're not wrong. It is funny. It's a low hanging fruit, but it's funny. They could have made a joke about tires. What noise does the tire make? I'm not going to sit. You could.
Yeah, but they're also collecting from the teenagers' faces in Burbank.
Right.
Right.
So
fried food shows and is a box of Kentucky Fried Chicken, and it is just pouring out.
I also like Beaumont, Texas, where they're just farting constantly because they eat is beans. Beans.
Chili.
Yeah.
Honey.
I think for me, so I mentioned it kind of at the opening, A Fistful of Yen.
Yeah.
I think it works. It works off and on, if that makes sense. Like there are parts of it that work, there are parts of it that don't. And I understand that the parts that work and the parts that don't are so sandwiched together that they're inextricably linked because it is so narratively based. You can't get away from it. It's 31 minutes. So
yes, I love it. I or Fistful of Yen.
It's so good.
What works and what doesn't work. It's so scattershot. It is the actual prototype of what everything that they're going to sort of perfect later on. But in my mind, it's actually the perfect thing. It's the perfect parody. It is a beat for beat remake of one of my favorite films of all time, Enter the Dragon. Like it's basically Enter the Dragon without John Saxon and Black Belt Jones, Jim Kelly. It works on that level. It works. The action works. John Landis directs it really fantastically. Most of this movie was shot in a fucking restaurant. That's a Chinese restaurant.
Like, oh my God, that's crazy.
And you know what? Like, to me, it is, as I said, like a total parody of that film, whereas Airplane is just a remake of Zero Hour. I mean, there are whole swathes of dialogue that they left intact because it was so ridiculous to begin with. This is a parody of Enter the Dragon. So anyway, I'm sure you have problems with it. I have problems with it too, maybe a little, but this one makes me laugh beginning to end every time. All of my favorite jokes, other than Scott Free, which is just a work of art, can be found here in Fistful of Yen.
I actually think most of my issues lie with, and again, it's just the affectation that Evan C. Kim is using. Just for me, it gets a little old after. And
consistency of parodying Mr. Bruce Lee.
It's just that, like the Elmer Fudd thing, like the I don't know, like it's a little much, and that's really it. Like, I mean, again, like where it ends up and the final gag of the segment is so fucking stupid.
How dare
you?
you?
Best, no, you don't understand. It's so stupid in the best fucking way that they just say, okay, you know what? We've pushed ourselves into a corner. What do we do here? It was just fucking Wizard of Oz because we took he melts with water gag and we just went the furthest we could with it. And you know what? In terms of that, it's worth the 30 minutes to get to that because I was laughing out loud sitting here watching it. The 3 times I watched it, every time it came to that point where he's like, oh, he just clicks his heels and then he's wearing that ridiculous fucking wig. Yeah, that joke lands and it's worth the 30 minutes.
For me, the star is Bonks. He is so master. Yes, he is so good. He is so fucking good. Like his comedic timing, his hair. Like that quaff is tight. Okay, that is a great quaff. Even during the Wizard of Oz part where he says something nice, and then all of a sudden you take a quick shot of his like fires, but he like tucks it in real quick behind the wall. I love it, and I have to say when I was a kid, this was favorite. This in Courtroom, but as I watched it as I've gotten older, like A Fistful of Yen is maybe my favorite thing in this. Like I love it. And yeah, I've got it. You said my brain, like, oh, but it's and the music, like the parody is good, even to like the kind of music that you would hear it or hear in this kind of back then. And parts of it almost sound like more Garth, which makes me just love it even more. Like it's so spot on. Like you can tell, like, yeah, again, the people that know this genre love it. It's not just somebody, smugging it up. It's good.
And that's the other thing about parody for me is most of the time when you're doing like with Airplane, I mean, Airplane is almost too good of it's a good disaster movie in and of itself. It's not just a good parody. It also happens a parody of disaster that in and of itself is a pretty decent disaster. Because again, it cops a lot from Zero Hour, but like Scary Movie is a pretty good comedy horror movie too. So is Scary Movie 2. And I mean, Scary Movie 3 is less a horror comedy. But that's the thing. I mean, even like Naked Gun is a pretty good like comedy police procedural, but it's also a parody of certain. And that's why for me, I mean, I give a lot of the issues that I had with A Fistful of Yen. It's just like, ultimately, even in those parody movies, like a lot of those jokes don't necessarily land there. So it's no different that this segment is essentially a microcosm of itself. Because like you mentioned already, Father Malone, this is where all the other things, including Airplane, come from, is their ability to handle this material in the way that they do. Jam pack it full of all kinds of different jokes, just like they would end up doing in Airplane and Naked Gun and everything.
You'll notice that when they don't have a film to sort of base it on, you get Top Secret, which I love. It has a lot of great gags in it, but it does not hang together as well as Airplane or this movie or the Naked Gun film.
I actually do think I enjoyed this more than I enjoyed Top Secret.
I would agree. I would not have agreed with you maybe a couple of years ago, but I watched Top Secret again recently, and like now I feel it does suffer from not having a framework. It's just sort of a bunch of ideas thrown together, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But if you're giving us 100 jokes a minute, then it's going to be great. But if you slow it all down, then we need a little bit more.
It's Elvis movies and it's spy movies, and it's like no, you don't need to have like 8 million things jammed and just pick like one. One is hard enough. I mean, A Fistful of Yen, just like Naked Gun and Airplane, like it feels really hard to navigate in a minute and a half like Cleopatra Schwartz, let alone 31. And Courtroom, which we've kind of mentioned, in passing, I think Courtroom works really well too. I think Courtroom is very funny and more of a parody of things that I have a frame of reference for, like a Perry Mason. Like that's maybe the other thing. Again, I've seen some Bruce Lee stuff, but I haven't seen everything. I wasn't holding that against Yen, but it definitely contributed to my enjoyment of Courtroom more because I knew some of the gags that they were already going to do and kind of where that was going already. So I could see maybe some of those things off in the distance, and they did some of them. And I think Courtroom is pretty good, and I like that it has a breakup of an ad into it. I think that even though it's pretty quick, I think that does help.
I like Courtroom quite a bit just because Jerry Zucker is doing a hilarious version of the Beaver next to the actual Wally Tony Dow.
Oh my God. I didn't realize that was Zucker. I kept being like, who is the guy Beaver? Because he's good. Like it's even better than God, actually, that's hard to say. John Candy is as grown-up Beaver on SCTV. It's good too.
This one's better. It's got the bit of Tony Dow sitting next to him and bickering with him in a holy manner.
Oh my God. But we also get my personal favorite actor from Airplane, Steven Stucker, as the stenographer. And he, like, at one point, and I mean, he's not even really a focal point, but just you'll see him in the background, just like miming, like it's like so random.
He's a level of mania that unfortunately, was cut down too quickly. But always great to see him. Was part of their original Kentucky Fried Theater, apparently part of the troupe. So.
I believe.
Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah. Also, apparently Forrest J. Akron is somewhere I don't know if I spotted him now. There's an older guy that maybe could have been.
Yeah, that's definitely Forry Ackerman of the Ackerman, Mr. Famous Filmland himself.
Yeah, Mr. could possibly tie conspiracy involving Jack Parson, the Church of Scientology, as well. But that's another episode.
That's another episode of another show entirely. I mean, come on.
Jack Parson, right? For and shadowy.
And is that John? I know it says it in IMDb. John Cassisi is in the Argan Oil volunteer thing at the beginning, and is he one of those kids? It didn't look like him. but Bugsy Malone's own.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't recognize him, but that would be interesting. I'll have to now rewatch it again.
Yeah, because Bugsy Malone came out in 1976, and he's such a distinct looking cat. Let's just put it that way.
Since he would be in Los Angeles when he made that movie Fox with Jodie Foster, and that was that ilk.
Bugsy.
So good.
But no, Steven Stucker, I guess that was his thing. Was that his thing? Was just this? Because I've only seen him in this in Airplane. This is his one thing. It's just that, which is great. It's hilarious. I love him. Who the fuck doesn't love him in Airplane? Me, John, Big God. Tree. He's fucking hilarious. But this was his thing, right? Clearly.
Oh yeah. I want more of it, obviously.
The non sequiturs are fucking great. I'm here for
a hat or a brooch. Or a little pterodactyl.
Oh my God. Yeah. He steals the show anytime he's on screen in fucking Airplane. And here it's a little bit more reined in, but I'm glad that we're just man, he's really funny. Just let this guy do his thing. And we have every time they cut back to the control tower in Airplane, he does something. It's constant. So
man is a treasure.
Yeah, he's great.
Speaking of treasure, can we talk about Big Jim Slade for a minute?
Recurring character here.
Oh my God. I love this. And not just because Jack Baker, the late great Jack, Six Downey on Happy Days. He was briefly in Love at First Bite. We talked about Chris on this show. We missed you, Chris.
There, weird.
Not in with the Switchblade.
Yes, he was. Yeah, that movie was. If somebody wants to see a racist 70, watch the first.
Around the same time as the God, it's night and day as far as intent, humor.
Woo. Yeah. And Jack Baker was kind of wasted in that film, but it was cool to see. Of course, he'd go on to appear in a number of adult films, including New Wave Hooker. He is hilarious in, and that movie is hilarious. That movie also it's probably very problematic. If you're sensitive, don't. Well, it's called New Wave Hooker, but Jack Baker, and it's so great to hear. And the big Jim Slade busts in like they're cooling and through the wall, and then just in his little
wearing the skimpiest of skimpy. My lord!
Oh my God! See, you guys get the boobs, but at least the ladies get Big Slade, right?
They put big on the title for a reason.
Apparent instruction LPs, which used to be a big thing. I have a few in my collection.
Are you serious?
How to talk to your plants. I have how to disco dance. I have oh God, there's one other one. I don't know. So it's extra funny just because there were ads on television that weren't this obviously, but this is at least very pointed.
Oh, I thought you meant you had ones that were mood for seduction or something like that.
How to Perform Cunnilingus, hosted by Uncle Milton Berle.
Oh, how dare you! Ew, Chris! Oh, you brought up the ghoul, not the ghoul. My favorite horror house. No, the ghoulish hog-leg speck himself of Uncle Milton Berle.
Ghoulish hog-leg specter is a certified new sentence, folks.
It's like the Zuckers.
It's like Zuckers. Good God.
No, but that also was the thing was 70s LPs of specific to set up sensual scenarios.
Right.
And my favorite was I once heard an MP3 of one. It was supposed to sound like a swingers orgy, but it ended up really sounding like Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf on Spanish Fly. I don't know if it was intentionally supposed to be funny, but it's half of it was this couple arguing and being see how much more tighter she is than you. And she's like, cute George. Oh, it's hilarious. It's just it's so foul. It's kind of like the movie Bat Pussy. If anybody's ever seen that. Have you ever seen Bat Pussy, Chris?
What did you just say on my podcast?
You're
Bat Pussy? No, I'm not familiar.
This is a superhero film that.
I didn't think it was hosted by Richard Attenborough. Let's put it that way, or David Attenborough for that matter, or any Attenborough at all.
Your tone's pointed.
Bat Pussy. And
no.
This is how bats fuck.
No, it's not like that at all. No, there's this redneck couple that are attempting intercourse and failing. But they the title Bat Pussy is actually Batwoman. She's Bat Pussy because she rides a hoppity hop Like, do you remember that? Like those bouncy balls that you sit on? They were like popular in the 70s.
Okay.
And they have like a handle.
Hippity.
And she says, I can sense that somebody's making a fuck film in my holy Gotham City. They're real. They're the Texas Southerners. And like the couple spend most of it just arguing with each other. Like there's no fuck. Partially because the guy can't get an erection, but also because they're like saying like, it just turns into Dada where it's like, I come from work. I come home from work and you're trying to fix hot beans on a griddle. I want hot pussy on the griddle. And he says stuff like that, and then it's like, she's like, fuck you, motherfucker. And he's like, darling, I love you. Like, I'm not exaggerating. This is straight from this movie. It is, you want surrealism, you want transgressive comedy, bat pussy. It's all blue.
That is the best. That you got us there to that joke. Bat pussy now on me.
Darling, I love you. Like, it's like, I mean, he keeps saying it. It's like, this is probably my role, but that's why. That's
You're
why
such a fan.
Oh no, it's like there was a film writer, Larry Treadwell, who called it John Waters, and that really is like that enticing. You must see that.
I just like the name.
You'll love the movie. You'll love the movie.
Come for the name, stay for the movie.
You know what else I love? Kentucky.
Tell me about Bill Bixby, Father Malone, because all of a sudden Bill Bixby's been showing up and stuff.
We just keep seeing him on Night Gallery. Since
Right?
Night Gallery, he's really good in both of them. And then he just shows up in here, which is one of the lamest segments in the entire movie. If that's the Sanhedrin, it's like an Excedrin ad where we go to the lab where they're testing the headache medicine by giving people headaches, just smashing bottles or banging their heads on walls and stuff. Sanhedrin, of course, was what the ruling body in like Israel, like at the time of Christ. So that's I think thought it was a funny like an eye rhyme to Excedrin there. Bill Bixby's okay. Good to see him with a beard.
Looked like his character from that episode of
Oh yeah, the Last Rites of a Dead Druid.
The Monk, yeah. And you know what? Another Blues Brothers connection. Henry Gibson is in this, and he's really funny.
Oh yeah, that's rough with that kid, man.
Oh my fucking God! I mean that ad is just. It's pretty gnarly.
It's really funny, but it's hard, man.
Yeah, that might be. I mean, that like a dead kid, just having a dead kid around is pretty fucked up.
That's transgressive.
That's
transgressive.
Yeah, you're totally right. And it's like so lovingly transgressive too. It's done with such love in its heart. There's no malice at all in that ad, which is the most fucked up.
It is like all the charitable pleas you see on television. It is very, very friendly.
Yeah. Your $1 a day could help a dead child somewhere. It's so horrifying. But again, Henry Gibson sells it so perfect. That's why it works.
I love it. He's
not one of my other favorite jokes, which is he is tough and ruthless. And this is his driver. He is rough and toothless.
I like Bulkus just breaking people's backs. That also was not getting old. Just him just murdering people. Again, like the physical comedy in here is just they got it from the get. They never really had to worry about understanding comedy. They always, here it is right here. It's just some of the physical comedy is in Fistful of Yen is so good,
Well, and mixed with some of the great lines, because I love it when Dr. Klon, after decapitating, this guy says, now take him to be tortured.
The body is Detroit.
So no, come back to us, Malone.
Malone.
Did I freeze? Hello? Can you hear? I'm waving.
We hear you now.
Hi, everybody. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to freeze.
Are you cooking fish?
No, what's happening?
It's from one of those. It's from the odors. Were you cooking fish?
I think. That's a parody of just air freshener ads. There was a specific ad that they're parodying there where it's like, oh, you had fish last night, huh? Gross. Like, get your shit together ads. But I heard John Landis talking about that scene, and it frustrated him because, there are other segments where, there's an elaborate setup to get to a joke. And he said, here, it's just a woman comes in and says, Christ, did a cow shit in here? And he said, you would get roars of laughter in the theater. And he was like, it's just that easy. You just got to do that.
Yeah.
Poop is funny.
Poop is always funny. And boobies are funny too. I'm sure there were hoots and hollers in the zinc oxide bit when they go, and in your bra too. And then all of a sudden boobies are saggy, hardy, har, har. I mean, like, I'm sure John Landis like, God, this shit.
Oh, see, I think it got funny once shit just started going to
hell.
Yeah.
I love that. That might be like just another, like, it's almost as good as that scot-free one, because it's just, what they're parroting is so universal. It's like, it's in this. It's like it's your brain on drugs taken way too far.
That's the fourth segment that they filmed for the 10-minute reel, that sequence. And let me counter the thing about the boobs. As far as when I lived in Los Angeles, for a while I lived with the daughter of an Iranian filmmaker who used to work with John Landis quite a lot. So I always just pick his brain about John Landis.
Holy shit.
What? New door unlocked.
Okay, Captain Fancy. Oh my God.
What the fuck? Yeah, you've never told this part of the story before.
Wait, where's the documentary on Father Malone?
I spent the night of the LA riots at his house. In fact, he and I went with him. We went driving around the streets of Los Angeles. He and his friend with pistols in their hands. Anyway, that's not important. But what he kept telling me about John Landis was, he said, John Landis is like a very talented filmmaker, and he's a really funny guy. He's just the worst person to be around on the set. Not because he was some taskmaster. He just thought he was really fucking annoying on set. Where was I going with this story? Oh, the other thing about John Landis was, and he mentioned this a lot, he loves big boobs, Mike. The big boobs. Oh, you should see casting. It's all big boobs. And that's certainly on display here in his first feature.
Did his son turn out to be a sex pest?
Kinda.
Yeah, okay. I mean, among other things.
Other things, yeah.
The unfortunately, as they would say, the talent did not.
No.
I mean, Max Landis has done Wrestling Is Not Wrestling, which was like, as a wrestling fan, it felt very patron.
He can kiss.
No.
Well, he seemed insufferable, didn't he?
Yeah, like that. He's like so fucking smart. Like, we get it, dude. You're smart.
The annoying like parts of John Landis, but John Landis has so much fucking talent to back it up that, like, he could just go, these 3 movies in a row, motherfucker. What have any of you done? Like, I'm going to be as annoying as I can be.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, and seeing John Landis in interviews too, like, especially when he's talking about film, he's engaging. Like, I like seeing him. He doesn't, he doesn't come across like there's some filmmakers that you see, Christ, like Tarantino or Eli Roth. Like, I wouldn't room with those guys, but I could listen to John Landis talking late. His son. We will focus because this movie's great, and John Landis loves big boobs, which makes him, I don't know, not really that much different probably from a lot of straight guys.
He's a student of the game. Like, John Landis clearly is. Like, that is, I mean, like you mentioned it in the opening, Father. He and Heather, he's a student he's a person who understands film, and he's not just, I fell into this. Like, he didn't just fall into this as a fucking career. And there are plenty of people that did. John Peters. I just fell into this. Cool, man. Fucking John Land, I don't know. Like, I always felt whenever you, like you said, Heather, when you listen to John Landis, like, this guy gets filmmaking. And look, American Werewolf in London pays homage to so many things that you have to love that thing to have gotten to the point where you're making this thing where it's like, this doesn't happen in a vacuum. And that's the magic of John Landis, is he's kind of like, who's your favorite, Father Malone? Joe Dante, right? Like, he's kind of like Joe Dante. And like, they come of the same ilk where it's like, you love filmmaking.
Oh, yeah. And they carved out their own unique visions, based sometimes on the visions of others, but recontextualized and made their own. An American Werewolf in London is a perfect movie.
Agreed, 100%.
Absolutely.
One thing in that movie, what could you possibly do to improve it? Like, nothing. And that's the script he wrote when he was like 19. When they gave him their script for Kentucky Fried Airplane, he said, no, put it in a format like this, and gave them American Werewolf in London. Like, this is what a screenplay is supposed to be.
Again, John Landis's involvement in this, I think, is what, for me, I mean, again, I don't want to drag Ken Shapiro, but if Ken Shapiro had John Landis, we might be having a different conversation about the groove.
Yeah,
No.
I feel bad. I feel bad for being. I don't feel. I mean, I don't feel 100 bad.
Comedy's fucking subjective. Like I don't feel bad about being subjective about comedy or horror. Like those things are so subjective.
I know. I feel bad because I adore my brother, a friend, Bob Malone, a human I respect and love fierce as a peer, as a person, as a friend.
But?
And did you? No, there's no
But?
but to it. I feel like if I was an asshole about the Coco to you, I apologize. I don't apologize for feeling the way I feel because no one should.
No way. And you know what? Like you stack these two movies against each other, there's just no question. Like the best of the Groove Tube does not match up with the worst of this movie. Like these two guys are just operating on a different level. These three fellows, you know. And then Landis on top of it. I do know that if Landis had been with Ken Shapiro, that not only visually would it have been striking, and more people would know about the movie just on that level, but Landis has a very definite good comedic editing eye. You know, what Dan Aykroyd gave him a script the size of like 1,000 pages for the Blues Brothers. Like he cut the hour movie, like just at the script stage. Like as a joke, he gave it to him sandwiched in between the the hollowed out pages of a yellow page. Like, here's the script. So I think he definitely could have benefited Ken Shapiro for that the Dealers would have been 7 minutes and very fast and very funny if John Landis had been at the helm.
Right. I totally believe that. And John Landis would have had a hand somewhat in the script.
Oh,
or
definitely.
at least, or again, I think, and the other thing is, I wonder, taking the John Landis out of it, if Ken Shapiro had some other people working with him on the script. Like, again, ZAZ is 3 people. Zuckums is 3 people. It's not just one. So, I mean, again, if Ken Shapiro had 2 other people to bounce his ideas off in a circle and actually have some creative decisions maybe made and pared down, maybe the Groove Tube would be remembered as fondly as Kentucky. Again, 3 fucking people as opposed to just one guy. Like that, I think when it comes to creativity, not necessarily more people is better, but in terms of things like this, a sketch comedy movie, having a couple different voices in the room to speak to different comedy styles was probably better than just one guy's thing the whole way.
Although you could say like those later date movies and whatever, like there's 6
my fucking god,
and those are garbage. So I don't know.
How many of them were involved in those? Because that's the thing. Like, I know some of those, there's Freeberg and Seltzer. Like, Abrams Zucker, they could be blamed for being involved in Scary Movie 4, American Carol, and Scary Movie 5, but they didn't do Date Movie or any of them.
Certainly not. And I don't think...
But I guess you could blame them for creating a genre of movie that then would get more or less parody.
I won't blame them at all. They were showing exactly how to do it. And everyone thought, oh, that's easy. We could do that. And it's not. Like, that's a decade worth of them working really hard and honing their craft and figuring out the formula on how to make this kind of entertainment. And everyone else's is just a more watered down version. It's a diminishing return.
Well, when I think of like a date movie or a epic movie or a disaster movie, it's like those were just reference fests to things happening at the time that they're so specific to the references that they were making that they have no universality. They are completely without any sort of they're so topical they can't ever really be watched maybe 10 years later, because if you don't know some of those jokes, they're not going to land. And it's like what we saw in Groove Tube and this, where it's like there are some specific things that you have to have some reference for to fully appreciate it. But like Scary Movie 1, I feel like still hangs as like its own thing. But yeah, ultimately, so many of those movies end up coming out and they kind of just get lumped in with Scary Movie and Naked Gun as like, oh, these are parody movies. It's like, they're not even the same. They're not being made by the same level of people who understand what to do. Because these guys, again, more or less created the genre themselves.
I saw Fistful of Yen before I saw Enter the Dragon. Did not affect my appreciation of Fistful of Yen. And then when I saw Enter the Dragon, it only made my appreciation grow, but it wasn't. It didn't hang on my knowledge of the previous film.
Oh God, the toy robot when the first it shows up the window. I'm sorry. That just said that. I just thought of that. I think part of it that may help too is that we're also talking about guys that are of the generation that were so strongly, and I mean, Father Mullen, you're gonna be able to speak to this more accurately than me. But I mean, as a whole, like some of our great voices are true out of the box creative 70s and 80s are people that were pretty much raised on things like Mad Mag, Cracked magazine. And that's the thing is that you can look at those old magazines, even if they're referencing pop culture stuff that you may not get, there's something that is still like great about them because you're dealing with creators who were so talented and it's so just like wild and woolly, and smart and nothing else. And I think whenever you have that, that always is going to surpass everything else. It's going to make you stand out and hit something connect. You know, I mean, if we got every reference and everything ever made, then what's the point of, you know, it's like, but you got to make it, if you're just half-assed, especially comedy is legit one of the hardest things you can do. Comedy and horror, even though they get the back other than maybe like erotica, but horror and comedy get the least respect a lot of times in genres, but those are two of the hardest genres to do. It was absolutely, and comedy, I think especially, comedy is so subjective and it's so, you know, the reason why we love the ones that do it right is, man, those are like, that's like your A-team. Those are your Olympians. Those are, you know, they're a rare breed and thank God we have them.
You know, we spoke about this before, but like, you know, when you look at representation in Hollywood film, if you look at comedy and horror, it's always been there. Like you get, you know, people of color in all of these films, you know, particularly in the 1970s. And like, you know, maybe they weren't getting the big roles in, you know, major studio movies, but like there's been a segment that's always been trying to employ them.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is that I love that, right? I love that you know, you point that out, especially because I think that's why so many of us that grew up feeling like misfits get attracted to these genres. I mean, comedy and horror, you know, and I don't really talk about comedy writer or podcast guest or whatever, but like, I mean, those two were the things that got me through childhood, got me through like feeling like an awkward, because I was an awkward kid, you know, I was bullied or whatever, like so many of us are, but those are one of the things that like kind of gets you through and pulls you through it, you know, and then later on you get throw in punk rock, but yeah,
man, comedy and horror, just like, you know, just different sides of a coin, right? Like they're both release valves. One is showing us what a nightmare the world is, and the other one is letting us laugh at it.
Yeah, absolutely. Both are also great coping mechanisms for the world. Like, you know, it's the world is beautiful and it's awful, but acknowledging your fear of it is kind of like cope with that, but also being able to laugh at it takes some of the bite away, especially when you're somebody that has like anxiety.
Oh, and that, and I mean, again, like we've already all mentioned, like the idea that I mean, again, like horror is just as subjective as comedy, but horror is so much easier to talk about. Like, I feel like anytime you even want to approach doing a podcast about comedy, and again, I did it with Mark Begley and Mike White earlier this year, and I don't know how people felt about it. Like, I feel like I don't want it to just be like, remember this part of the movie, hardy har har, and we all laugh the whole time. Like, that's always the concern when it comes to talking about a comedy on a podcast, which is why I tend to avoid them, because I don't want it to just be a reference fest. And it is so subjective that if you're three people talking about it, the hope would be one person doesn't abjectly hate it because they'll just sit there as a stick in the mud and go, I fucking hated it. I fucking hated it. Yeah. And like, and that's okay when it comes to something that is less subjective, but again, subjective in a different way. But comedy, it's just like, I don't know. Sometimes I always worry that even if we're talking about it now, it's like, oh God, is it just going to be like Reference Fest 2023? It's like, I don't think so. But that's the other thing I kind of avoid. I personally avoid talking about comedies because it's just kind of hard. It is harder to talk about them than you would think it would be.
Oh, well, unless you have something like this, which at least you can sort of contextualize in its place, right. You know, the grand scheme of American comedy cinema. And this is a definite touchstone, this particular. So I could see just watching random romantic comedy and going like, well, what's okay? Like we've done that before. We did the Truth About Cats and Dogs. That was tough, man.
Man, fuck. When was that? 2015, 2016, 2017? Like, good Lord.
Got it. I was not on that episode. I cannot. I remember that movie came out. I did not, because I was like, okay, Janine Garofalo is supposed to be the frumpy one.
Oh, that's what the movie was, right?
Yeah, and I was like, "Fuck you, Hollywood!" Like, I was like, "Janine Garofalo is hot. Why am I?" I was so like done with this.
They put glasses on her, Heather, and she became uglier.
Done with this system. Even then, I'm even more done with it now. Fuck you, Hollywood, burn. But no, I totally get that because I get the fear with that, but I think also there's shame in things that you think are funny because it's like if we talked about horror, if we were talking about say Hellraiser, you like God that refrain, has absorbed the skin, of her father, and it's Andy Robbins elevating. But like, of course, like we do that with all movies. I think what makes a good podcast are people having a discussion that them too. Personally,
it's fair.
If it's just, but like you said, if it's just somebody being like, yeah, that sucks. Who wants to listen to that? I hate. I had this discussion with a friend of recently, Rachel McFadden. We were talking about a film list, and it was just like little 1-sentence reviews of each film, and we were just like, "What's the fucking point? Like, if you don't like something or you love it, cool, tell us why. Like, not everybody's gonna agree, but that's okay. Like." Lester Bangs is one of my favorite writers ever. He's like one of my spiritual writing godfathers. I agree with everything he wrote, but he could at least tell you why and explain it in a way that's compelling. Comedies. And something I loved about the GroupTube episode is it felt like, in some ways, like Malone, UNHE, like saw and had more charm with it than I think me and Chris probably. But I loved that because it's like, we're getting to have these differences with the film with each other because we're all, we're strong-minded individuals, but we're also people that, have love for each other and love for film. It's all good. And the three of us love this Kentucky Fried movie. I kind of surprised we don't hear people talk about it. It's almost like, even though it was a huge success, right? Like this movie.
What's funny about the success of the movie is it eventually grossed $7 million based on their $500,000 budget, which is massive, 1977. Let's face it, right?
Yeah.
But because Salah Hassanein was the producer in the movie, and he owned, I think, United Artists at the time. So anytime a film would come in and underperform, he would pull that film out and stick Kentucky Fried Movie back in the cinema. And he did this for years and years and years. And so he eventually got to $7 million based on him constantly putting it back in cinema.
Oh, what a tax. That is crazy.
Landis wondered, like, I think that's an antitrust issue because he produced the movie and he owned the movie theaters and he was showing them. Like, I think they stopped us from doing that back in the 20s.
That's nuts. I just know, maybe it seemed big to me because my mother would always talk about seeing it as a teenager, and it made a huge impact on her. Would talk about the piss and the popcorn gas, and and all of that. But this film's a banger. Like, I think a lot more lands than doesn't. Nothing's perfect, or few things are. But
what doesn't land is my question. Like, what doesn't land? Again, let's take Fistful of Yen out of it because we can all agree that it has, just like this thing as a whole, it has its ups and downs. What is there a segment that doesn't work at all? Is the question, because we kind of talked around it, but is there one?
Yeah, the one with Jerry Zucker in the car with all of the different sirens going off, the warning siren. That was novel in 1977 to have suddenly there's a buzzer sound and you don't know what the safety device is. Aha, it turns out to be his zipper. That one does not work.
When I think of something not working to the point where, I think some things work better than others. I don't think there's anything in this film that made me just be like, just sit there stone face and just being like, okay, I'm dead. I think part of it though is like most of the stuff here is pretty, where I think, with other films, sometimes like, it's like, okay, you need to get to the next thing. Like the Afro-Magillers. I don't know. It's with Fistful again. I can't even say nothing landed for me because maybe it's because the things that landed so hard. It's just like, I don't know. I was happy. I was happy as a clam watching. I don't like there's so much silliness, like the dating game.
Oh,
like,
yeah. I'm ding-a-ling.
I think similarly to yourself, Father Malone, I think if anything didn't work, it would be the Nitex PM or the Bill Bixby one. And those are just for short little commercials. So in terms of them being like a problem, those three together are less than 3 minutes. So whoop-de-fucking-do as far as I'm concerned. It's not like in the GrooveTube where I had an issue with what is essentially the feature presentation of that movie the same way Fistful of Yen is the feature president's movie.
Yeah, with GrooveTube, it sort of percentage-wise seemed to be about 1/3 of it landed, and we were like, hey, that's good enough. Here it seems like 2/3 land.
I would go even further than that. I think almost everything lands, but a handful of shortlists that are just too blackout sketchy for me to really appreciate.
I would say like this land.
Yeah, it's like that's why this makes GrooveTube so much harder to even like defend. Frank,
I will say this: the GrooveTube is still better for the record. I'm glad we're not doing. That's there's a guy that that was the other one. You can tell I first watched that. But yeah,
is he gone?
No, Mickey looks like
no. Father Malone.
Oh, I was gonna say
is he here still?
I'm listening.
Oh, okay. You were gone completely on my screen.
I had that. No, I'm sorry. Somebody was messaging me.
No. I couldn't see you at all.
Okay.
Oh, that's what was going on. Sorry.
Am I boring you? Is that what it is?
No. What?
I'm sorry.
Oh, I was like, wait, what?
No. I feel like there's times I've interrupted you now, and I'm sorry. It's been like so stuttery.
I apologize for the internet connections.
Not your fault.
No, it happens.
The fuck, bro? Do you keep that hamster on the wheel?
Yeah.
And I throw it over my shoulder in a really awesome sight gag that's a throwaway.
That was a good sight.
But no, it happens. I mean, at least your internet didn't like legit. I had mine we had a power outage as I was wrapping up a projection.
Oh, I had my internet fully during the Dawn of the Dead projection though.
No. The
fucking universe, bro.
I nightmare realized, yeah.
That you know what it was? It was the zinc oxide.
Yeah.
It was zinc oxide, man.
Zinc oxide in your husband's pacemaker. It just fucking drops. I will say I did appreciate the reoccurring gag of today something will happen to you that you don't expect, and then people just start dying from arrow.
My God. The other great running gag in the movie, and just a great gag in general. And man, I love those arrow effects, those old arrow effects with the monofilament, and they would actually just shoot the arrow into the like a sandbag under the clothes. It always works.
It looks great. It always.
You're a Gemini. Expect the unexpected.
Oh my God.
If you're a Taurus, see a florist. Oh my fucking God. They were just giggling to themselves when they wrote that line. I will say Zucker and Abrams and Zucker, they show up a fair amount in this, don't they?
Oh, yeah. And why wouldn't they?
Right. Well, it's funny because we would always point out when we did Police Squad when they would show up, because they would show up, or then I want to say either Zucker or Abrams' mom is in Naked Gun as the secretary to Ricardo Montalban, but I don't know, where they are here is I don't know, they're front and center this time around for sure.
Well, in Courtroom, I know Jim Abrams is the courtroom reporter, so he is front and center, and they're all in that one.
Yeah, they're all front and center in that one because isn't
Zucker is the beaver, and then David Zucker gets up and he's on the stand and
he's the spoon,
so he can figure out his name.
Yeah.
Oh God, he was.
Yeah.
That's
David Zucker.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love the one lawyer that had the penal code, and he put at one point he takes the dildo and puts it on his head, and he starts acting like he's a space alien.
Oh my fucking God! Yeah, there are so many good fucking gags in this movie.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Chris, but speaking to. You said earlier, Heather, about everyone, all of this generation of comedians, whether they like it or not, were disciples of Mad Magazine, right? And I think the Zaz boys here picked up the genial nature of that. As transgressive and as mean or as hard as any of the jokes here are, there's always a lightness to it that always came through. It was always a gentle sort of parody and ribbing, and I think that carries over or starts here, really, in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the only joke that feels a little mean-spirited is the danger sequence.
Yeah, that was.
But again, to your point, Father Malone, I think they were more or less parroting the levels to which you will go versus what you won't actually. But I mean, you went to the furthest point as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it's more a parody of the fucking phenomenon itself. The sudden need to put yourself in danger is ridiculous.
I'm glad I finally watched this movie. I enjoyed it a fair amount.
Yeah, it's so good. I'm glad I got to watch it or watch it again. Like,
Yeah.
Every time I put it, I'll put it on and go like, I'll just watch it for a second. And then I see the time and I go like how long the movie is. And I go, oh yeah, no, I'll just breeze through this. And I end up watching this movie more than I think I should.
I mean, it flies by. It's an hour and a half. It's a quick hour and a half. I miss the hour and a half movie. I really fucking do. You know, like I've been watching a lot of horror movies recently that came out this year, and they're all sub an hour 45. And I'm like, fuck, I miss Frank.
it's serious. More movies. I mean, every so often I love a good long movie if it's good.
It's called Indian cinema. It's
Indian
called
cinema.
Indian cinema.
Indian cinema or Herzog or Wim Wenders. Like cinema from this guy is perfect. Most things don't need to be 3 hours. Most films do not need to be that long.
Things don't need to be 2 hours and 45 minutes. Looking at
Fuck
you,
no.
all the Marvel movies. All of a sudden,
Make
we
it
have 18 set pieces to get through. Fuck you, you do. Fuck you, you do.
80 to 90. Let's go back to a lot of those for any Hollywood stuff.
When Steven Seagal's movies were being given a hard time because they were a little over 2 hours in the 90s, and now we have 2.5 hour action movies that have less charm than even Seagal's movies did, we have a problem.
Yeah. And I mean, and those movies don't have Steven Seagal playing guitar with Marty Roberts.
or defending the oil rights of the native people of Alaska. He really is the white savior, folks. My God. And hey, he shows up in the Onion sketch comedy movie as the cock puncher, I believe.
Missed it.
Yeah.
Actually, I started watching it and then stopped. Like movie 43. I stopped watching. Have you seen the 10 sketch movie about the 10 Commandments?
That sounds.
I haven't seen it either. No desire. I know it's not going to be any good. This thing reached its zenith with the movie we're doing at the end of the month.
That's fair. I was going to ask, as we bring this episode to a close, just because I have you here, do you consider UHF a sketch comedy movie or sketch comedy adjacent?
Adjacent.
Okay.
Like a Brain Candy or a Hollywood Shuffle. There are sketches within, but they're buried within a narrative.
Oh, God, I love Hollywood Shuffle. And UHF. I do.
UHF. I mean, look, I'm not saying we need to do an episode on UHF because Mike did an amazing episode on his show, but any opportunity to rewatch UHF in a professional setting is not going to sneak.
I'm just saying, if Culture Cast does it, I'll guess the shit out of it.
We've done it all on UHF. Don't touch that.
Exactly. I got to see. I saw it in the theater as a.
Look, now that I am jealous of.
I had to choose between that and Batman. Yeah, and I wanted to see Batman, but UHF pulled stronger.
I think you have more street cred because you.
It sums me up. Please, verse. It's very odd.
89, I saw everything.
Fair.
Well, not all of us are fancy.
Wow. Student of the game, big time.
So Father Malone is the game.
Yeah. So Heather, I'll kick it to you first. Final thoughts on Kentucky Fried Movie.
It's great. It's hilarious. It's irreverent, and I love it. And Barry Dennen is the man.
I'll give my thoughts, and then Father Malone, I'll kick it to you. I enjoyed it a fair amount as well. I think, again, unfortunately, you have to somewhat try to distance us from GrooveTube, but this is a podcast and it builds on itself, and we've seen that now, and now we've seen this. So, I would prefer this over GrooveTube, but I enjoyed this an immense amount, and the lows of this were much higher than any of the highs. But at the same time, I'm excited to see where we end up later in the month with Amazon Women on the Moon, given that this is a starting spot for so many people, not just the Zuckums, but also, John Landis. And now I'm probably going to go watch American Werewolf in London. That sounds like a good idea. And that sounds like a good movie to watch right now, given that it's, we're about halfway to the spooky season, at least in the month of September. But it's the spooky season in all of our hearts all the time. So Father Malone, I'll kick it to you. Final thoughts on Kentucky Fried.
American Werewolf in London is never a bad idea.
Never.
Kentucky Fried Movie is worth a look if you haven't seen it. It is, it's very quick. In this age of people loving the 90-minute movies, right? They have their own categories in streaming these days, right? Like, well, I got to find something 90 minutes and under. But there's nothing wrong with 90 minutes and under. Sam Raimi prided himself on the brevity of his early movies, did he not? And
we watched mostly 90-minute movies in our life.
True.
So this is one of those. So you should seek it out. And as a document in history, first of all, it absolutely needs to be seen for both the Zucker-Abrams-Zucker connection and John Landis's connection. I think it's very funny to this day. I think, the fact is, there have been so many sketch shows and like on television now and on the internet. And the idea of sketch comedy is so watered down that I don't know that I can recommend this to like a teenager, like that they would get anything going on here now necessarily. But like, the actual sort of physical comedy is always timeless. That's why Chaplin is still, I'm not comparing this to Chaplin, but in a way I am, like the physical gags still work here. And I love John Landis. Let me just say that again. Okay. Also, well, you play the commercial there for the next one, because I got a few words to say about the next one, if you don't mind.
So yeah, on that note, we'll take a quick break and we'll play a preview for the next episode.
Mr. Mike's Mondo Video. Mr. Mike's Mondo Video, the television show that can't be shown on television. Coming soon to your local theater.
Now playing at a Famous Players theater or drive-in near you.
That's right. On the next episode, we're going to be talking about Mr. Mike's Mondo Video, a film not directed by John Landis.
No, certainly not. Now, all the lightness and genial favor I was describing when dealing with the Zucker brothers and Landis to a degree, that's going to be completely absent in the next one. The sort of incestuousness of the Channel One inspiring the Zuckers and this whole thing coming together like as lovely and community building as that is, like that's going to be completely absent, because we're going to be stuck with a madman by the name of Michael O'Donoghue, who it doesn't seem to me to have ever been influenced by anyone, and just has a definite singular vision. There, that's all.
I'm excited. Heather's going to be there, folks.
Hell yeah.
I'm going to be there. And it'll be the three of us again. So yeah, until then, Heather, where can people find you kicking around on the internet?
Me, I'm always kicking up a fuss. You can find me over at linktree.com/Mondo Heather. There you'll find my website, Mondo.com, my Patreon, my social media, various articles and podcast episodes that I have been on. And you'll find some of the ones I've done with these two lovely gentlemen. So yes, you can find me. Please check.
What about you, Father?
Well, as for me, go to weirdingwaymedia.com. Well, you'll be hearing me all month here about these sketch comedy movies, but I would also encourage you to check out the aforementioned Noise Junkies that Heather and I do with our pal HP, our music podcast. Speaking of HP, he and I do a podcast called Night Mr. Walters, the Taxi Podcast, which I would also encourage everyone to give a listen to. It's pretty funny.
And who doesn't love 70s TV shows? I know I sure do, because you can find all the things that I talk about 70s TV shows related over at weirdingwaymedia.com, where Mike White and I talk about Barney Miller, we talk about Columbo, and then kick it to the 80s, and Father Malone, Mike White, and I talk about Night Gallery, but we've also talked about Twilight Zone 1985. So we're kind of all over the place, talking about all sorts of things from the 70s and 80s that we're watching, advocating you watch it as well. But come join us in a remembrance of these things over at weirdingwaymedia.com. As for this show, culturecast.com, patreon.com/culturecast. 10, 20, and 50 are the levels you can get in at if you're interested in supporting the show monetarily, but like, rate, and review the show wherever you get it, which is probably iTunes. So, Father Malone, Heather, thank you so much for joining me as always.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And
But
Father Malone, what?
I'm
What?
sorry.
No,
No,
go
go
for
ahead.
it. What?
No.
I was going to say, Father Malone, also thank you again for programming the month and another fantastic film, I would think.
Well, thank you for letting me do it. I like, thanks.
I mean, I always appreciate it. You bring your A game. I mean, everybody who programs the months normally.
But that you always seem to spring on me here at the end. That's what I'm just waiting for now.
What if I didn't?
If you didn't, that would be a great end of my evening. Once again, I have not prepared a porn name, and I just want to go home.
Oh no, don't go breaking my heart.
Yeah, I was about to say. And on that note, Heather, what is your porn parody title for the Kentucky Fried Movie?
It's really stupid. And I feel like this whole episode I've been back on my bullshit, and I apologize. I can't help myself. I am me. I'm not going to apologize.
I am woman. I am me.
No,
Mr. T from Free.
Oh God, I love Fiddle Saddle.
Good old Randy.
I love him too. Okay.
Oh God. You're gonna say can we say it at the same time? Because I'm pretty sure I had the exact same one kicking around my head.
Well, I don't know if you're gonna have the full title, but I bet we have the first. Are you ready?
Kentucky?
Oh no.
Oh,
I was going Kentucky fried booty.
Wow.
I hate myself.
That did not go at all where I thought it was going to go at all.
But I like Kentucky. Continue.
Father Malone, I'll kick it to you before I give mine.
I got it.
The exasperation on your face.
No, I'm not, because this is easy. It's in the movie. I'm just gonna call it Catholic high school girls in trouble. You'll cream in your jeans. But that has to be part of the title. You cream in your jeans.
That's fair.
I just think you're better. You're just riffing. You're not riffing it up. You're stealing. You're not a thief. You're not Tarantino. God damn it, you're a genius. Come on.
I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
He's not doing it. Well, you know what? I'll do it. The Kentucky cum-filled movie.
Yes.
And then the sequel would be the Kentucky cum-filled movie 2, dripping with more cum than you could have ever imagined. Just a really long, obnoxious.
How about German fried movie, Uwe Boll's first film, which is a remake of this movie? Can I use that as the porn title?
So on that note, we'll catch you on the next episode.